All right, ladies and gentlemen, I had a client ask me about the 8A required documents to sign up for the 8A set-aside. For those of you that know what the 8A is, I'm going to go through the required documents. For those of you that don't know what the 8A is, I've already got a video out there that explains the 8A and the benefits, and I'll cover that roughly at the end of this. To process an 8A, a lot of people who self-certified, who did their 8A on their own, just like Social Security or disability or veterans benefits, they failed the first 2 times, and it took them about 2.5 years to get it activated. If you guys use us to do it, it still takes 9 months, even though we know what we're doing and we can get it done right the first time. It still takes 9 months to a year. But the thing with 8A, HUBZone, some of these registrations, if you do it and you attempt to do it and you fail or you're declined, we have to wait 1 whole year before we can do it for you. So if you're considering having a professional company do it for you, check with me first before you attempt it. Because again, if you do attempt it on your own and you fail or you're declined, you'll come to me and then I have to wait a whole year to do it for you. So just check with me first. Anyway, required documents for an 8A. Your firm's signed and dated federal tax returns over the last 2 years. SBA says it has to be 3 years, but there was a change a while ago. And if you've been in a business at least 1 year, we can start on the 8A and with your first tax return, and by the time your second tax return is complete, we can submit it. So it's still going to take a year to submit it, but by then you'll have your second tax return. So we can start at 1 year. We need a personal signed and dated federal tax returns for the last 3 years for all individuals that either own more than 10% of the firm or have a key position in the firm. And you must include all schedules and attachments. You need a copy of your firm's financial statements for the last 3 years, your firm's balance sheet, profit and loss statements for the last 3 years, including the most recent current within 90 days of your application. Because the 8A is not for companies that are struggling. The 8A is for businesses that are successful and are ready to take it to the next level. We need a 2-year rule waiver. If your firm is under 2 years old, addressing how it meets the below objectives. We're going to need substantial demonstration of business management experience. We're going to need demonstrated technical expertise to carry out your business plan. You're going to have to prove that you have adequate capital or you have resources for funding, which I can help you with. I can get you set up with companies that will finance you. You need a record of successful performance on contracts. Please provide copies of contracts that will reflect the different sizes the firm can handle and the different sizes, products, billing invoices, and bank statements reflecting the positive receipts. Evidence also to include letters of reference for the firm's clients. So they want to see that you have a balanced portfolio of clients. You need to show that you have the ability to obtain the personnel, facilities, equipment, and other requirements to perform on these contracts. If the firm has not generated revenue, you will be unable to waive the 2-year rule. So you have to show that the business is successful and stable. They need a list of all federal, non-federal, and private sector contracts for the past 2 years. They need to see your leasing agreements. They need proof of a signature of authority of firm bank accounts, credit cards, firm bank accounts, and or letters from the bank. You got to provide them with documented proof of contributions used to acquire ownership. So for each owner, we have to have documented proof of contributions. Documented proof of any transfer of assets to or from the firm. Documented proof of any transfer of assets to or from any of its owners over the past 2 years. We need to see all your state filings, signed, dated, and stamped by the state when the firm does business, or the state where the firm does business. We need to see a certificate of good standing with the state. We need to see any foreign corporate filings, articles of incorporation, articles of organization. If you're a DBA, you're doing business as, we need your DBA filings. Any government documents that are signed by the principals, any bylaws, operating agreements, partnership agreements, the meeting minutes for those, stock certificates and ledgers. For majority owners and firm managers, we also need to see proof of social disadvantage, whether they be a woman, minority veteran, service-disabled veteran, or Native American. Proof of economic disadvantage, background information and personal information for all principals, resumes for all principals, and a completed statement of personal history form. We also have to see proof of U.S. citizenship or naturalization. We have to see duties from within the firm in the time of devotion. List of other business interests in time devotion. Nature of outside employment in time devotion. Financial information for all principals, including signed and dated personal tax returns for the last 3 years. Must include all schedules and attachments. Completed personal financial statement form for individual and spouse. List of all assets, liabilities, real estate, and other personal property, including transferred assets. Information on delinquent federal obligations, past due taxes or liens, bankruptcies, filings, student loans, pending civil lawsuits. Anyone that you're suing or suing you, we have to know of. List of any FBA loans for the firm or other businesses owned by the principals. Principals include owners of more than 10%, any officers, directors, members, partners, key employees, and be sure to understand the requirements to determine which principal needs to submit background, personal, or financial information. Now, please note this is not a comprehensive list of all supporting documents, but this is the primary list. And this, you have to provide these documents to the government to qualify for the 8A. Now, I know this sounds like a huge undertaking, because it is, but it's well worth it, because the 8A program is a 9-year program. Once you're in it, you have 9 years to be successful. Unless it's a tribal 8A, you can get an extension on it if it's a tribal 8A. Or a super 8A. But the 15 core eligibility requirements to qualify for the 8A, you have to have some type of social disadvantage, Native American, African American, minority, veteran, woman, or we have to prove somehow that your gender, veteran status, race, culture, some other factor has made you've been discriminated against because of that. Your personal net worth has to be under $250,000. So if you own more than $250,000 worth of stuff, and if you're married, that's you and your spouse, you don't qualify. The only exception is your house, the one that you live in, your homestead. That doesn't count. So you could live in the Taj Mahal. Everything else is counted for as personal net worth, unless it's a business asset, in which case all assets, including the business assets, can be up to $4 million. You have to be the highest paid person in the company to qualify for the 8A. Your average 3-year adjusted gross income, you can't make more than $250,000 a year for the last 3 years average. You have to be a citizen, small business. You have to socially and economically control the business, 51% or majority ownership. We have to show that you have a balanced portfolio. Startup companies can't qualify for the 8A because they don't have a balanced portfolio of clients. They're a startup. Age of the company, it says 2 years, but again, we can start at year 1, and by the end of year 2, we can process everything and submit it. You have to show that you have full-time devotion to the business, or that if you're a student or you own other businesses, they will not take away from your devotion to this business. You have to have good moral character. You can't have a big rap sheet or a lot of felonies, and you don't want to get in trouble while you're in the 8A because it can kick you out. No unpaid federal obligations. You can't have any student loans or bank notes, stuff like that. And we have to show that the company's financially stable. Like I said, the 8A is not for companies that are desolate or in trouble. 8A is for companies that are successful and are waiting to take it to the next level and just need that help, that little push. That's the 15 core eligibility requirements for the 8A. HUBZone, we might as well touch on it while we're here. HUBZone's easy. If you're in a HUBZone, 35% of your employees live in a HUBZone, you're a small business, and your business is located in a HUBZone, and you have not been declined or decertified in the last year, because again, we can't process it for you if you've already done it and you were declined or turned down or decertified. HUBZone, like the 8A, is another set-aside. The definition of a small business is based on the NAICS code. Each NAICS code is different. Some of them are based on dollar amounts. The NAICS code for locksmiths, $7 million and under, is considered a small business. The NAICS code for security systems and not locksmiths is $12.5 million. There's also some footnotes here where there's separate requirements. And then there's some areas where it's not by dollar amount, it's by number of employees. So like I know of an environmental remediation company that they have 499 full-time employees, and the rest of their employees they hire part-time so that they can remain a small business regardless of how much money they make. The 8A and the HUBZone set-asides are important because of the lack of competition. On your minority and woman status, you've got almost 70,000 women sharing that 5%. You got over 60,000 minorities sharing that 5%. You've only got 40,000 veterans sharing the same 5% that 70,000 women share, and only 16,000 service-disabled veterans sharing that additional 3%. But with the 8A, 8As get 5% just like veterans, minorities, and women, but there's only 5,300 8As. There's less than 1/10 of the competition. And HUBZone's even better. There's less HUBZones than there are 8As. Even though HUBZone set aside smaller, you're still talking 3% of the entire federal budget goes out to 4,100 vendors worldwide. And that's it, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment and share and give me some feedback. And if you got something you want me to write an article or shoot a video on, a subject or something, let me know. You got something that burns your ass, or you got something of people are being an idiot, let me know. Whatever. I'll make a video, I'll shoot it, put it, upload it, file it, download it, all that hunky-dory. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.